Hi, my name is Yaila Weddle, and I am an intuitive health coach, as well as a student of Joe's now for the last several years. Joe is one of my absolute favorite teachers to work with. When I first met him along my psychic journey, I first of all did not know I was psychic. I thought people who were either special and were born that way, or they had some crazy life or death experience that opened up those gifts. And when I started working with him, it was mostly just to feel like myself. I was in a dead-end job. I was taking on everybody else's energy around me. I didn't feel like myself. I was kind of feeling sad, almost borderline depressed, and a little bit of a hermit because going outside was just a little bit too overwhelming sometimes for me. And so after working with Joe, I was able to not only recognize other people's energy versus my own, I was able to learn how to keep my space clear. I was able to feel like myself, but the biggest piece was I learned we're all intuitive. We all have these psychic abilities, and we can learn how to build that muscle to open them up. And after working with him, not only do I have my third eye open, my clairvoyant ability, I do readings and healings. I left that dead-end job. I'm building my own business. I am teaching classes on intuition, and much of my journey I owe to Joe for his amazing teaching. He is very thorough. He really helped me start to see very vivid pictures in my readings after working with him. Just the pace that he goes at, the ease and grace and fun and flow that he works through. He is one of my absolute favorite teachers to work with. Time and time again, I still go back to him along my journey because it's always peeling that onion of more and more tools and more gifts. And as he progresses and grows, I love to check back in with him. If you get a chance to read his book or work with him, I highly recommend it. He is the best. Love you, Joe.
Hi, I wanted to tell a little bit about my own backstory. Who's Joe, what's his background, and what's he all about? Well, the story I'm about to share is one that I shared in my book, Journey of the Awakened Psychic. When I was young, right? I remember I was maybe a preteen, and it was 2 a.m. And I know it was 2 a.m. because I was staring at the clock, and it's one of those older kind of clocks, right? Older digital clocks. It had this really light blue kind of numbering to it, and it was 2 a.m. And I remember just laying there, and I started looking up at the ceiling, and I noticed that there was a glow of light there, and I was like, what is that? And I look around, I was like, there's no headlights anywhere, and yet it was this heavenly glow and just seemed to be swirling up there. And as soon as I started to acknowledge it, like, whoa, what is that? Next thing you know, it disappeared. And as soon as it disappeared, I was left with this message: Joe, your grandmother died. Right? And so the next day, what happens? My dad comes up to me, says, hey, bad news. Your grandmother in the Philippines died. Right? And mind you, I'm here in California, and my grandmother all the way in the Philippines, literally the other side of the world, she had just died. And, I was like freaking out. How could I have known that? Right? How could I have known that my grandmother died? And so I didn't want to tell anyone. I remember just like being, how could I have known that? And just kind of taken aback, really. I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't want people thinking I was crazy. And, so growing up after that, I just tried to ignore it, right? And in my teens to early adulthood, I tried to ignore it, but I'd get these things where like lights would just turn off. Right? It didn't matter where I was, lights would turn off. And I'd ask my friends, I'm like, hey, do those lights turn off for you? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? Right? And it didn't even matter where it was. I was in the Navy for 11 years, and I was stationed all different kinds of places, right? I was in North Carolina and Naples, Italy even, and lights would turn off. And again, I looked up to my friends and I was like, does it turn off for you? And they're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Fast forward from there, right? I was an adult, and I had a really bad breakup, right? A relationship breakup. And I remember I'm like, I got to see a therapist for this because I don't want this to linger on. I want to get over this breakup. And so there we were. I was talking, sitting in my chair, and the therapist was right in front of me. And we were talking about fathers, right? How fathers, right, affect relationships. And I remember just sitting there, and next thing you know, this glow of light is right up above her head. And it was just like the glow of light that I had seen when I was a kid, except this time it was like broad daylight. I was like, what in the heck is that? And I remember I was just transfixed. I was looking at this glow of light, and then my body kind of froze. And my therapist was still talking, but it was almost like, the Charlie Brown cartoons, right? Mwah, mwah, mwah. And the glow of light started swirling a little bit more. And I managed to interrupt her. And I asked her, what was your relationship like with your father? Right? And as I said those words, I'm like, where did those words come from? Like, what in the heck was that? And, she says, well, she had a difficult time with her father. It's why she became a therapist. And again, I'm just looking at the light, and out comes out of my mouth like, well, I don't know why or where this is coming from, but I feel the need to tell you that, your father loves you, right? And again, I was like, where in the heck did that come from? And as soon as that message was delivered, that glow of light disappeared. My therapist, I remember looking at her face, a tear was rolling down her face there. All of a sudden, after that message was delivered, all of a sudden I could move again. Both of us had to kind of gather ourselves. And I remember for weeks, right? For weeks after that, I was like, what the heck was that? I gotta figure this out. And so I scoured information online, right? I watched a bunch of videos. I bought a bunch of books, just looked at all these websites, blogs, etc. And I really had to figure this out. I literally was obsessed, right? Not long after, I found a school. I found a school in San Diego where I used to live, and I found this a training program. It's very similar to what you're about to learn here in this challenge. And I went through all the training. I went through the clairvoyance training, level 1 and 2, the teacher's program, and eventually I started teaching there myself, right? And I taught all the programs that I just mentioned, and I even taught other teachers how to teach this training, okay? And after personally working with, over 1,000 students now, from beginners all the way up to advanced, I gained this really big picture view of the typical awakening process that many go through. Now, everyone's individual, of course, and yet I began to see the patterns, right? The patterns of what worked, what didn't work, and ways to really accelerate the awakening process, and yet still do it in a grounded and step-by-step manner. And eventually, this methodology was born out of that, and that's what the basis, the foundation for my book, Journey of the Awakened Psychic, the 10-step guide for awakening your psychic gifts. That's how that book came about. And eventually I entered that book into a contest, and it won Best Psychic Book by Soul and Spirit magazine back in 2018. So I created this 5-day challenge based off of that book. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video there, this is like the Cliff Notes version of this book, right? And, here we are today, right? And I want to say that while this book gives you a lot of what you need to hone your gifts, this is only the beginning, right? You get the foundational tools taught in my book, but rather than just reading about it, right, by the end of this challenge, you get to experience a lot of this. And it is the difference between reading about riding a bike, for example, and actually getting on the bike and riding, right? Which is going to be the more richer experience for you, right? Reading about something versus actually experiencing it. And that's what you get with this challenge. And all the while, here you are experiencing it, learning. You get to ask questions. You get feedback directly from me, and all in 5 short days, right? So how cool is that? And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, this is all like building the foundation of a house, right? Once the foundation is built, now you can build your dream home on top if you wish, right? But you can't continue forward until you build that foundation first, right? And likewise, when you go through the entire 5 days of the challenge, and remember, this group is only open for 5 or 12 days, right? Technically, today's day 2. After the 5 days challenge is up, everyone typically wants to know, like, what's next, Joe? right? That was cool. What's next? Can I read stuff like past lives, or can I contact my spirit guides? Or can I heal my chakras or give readings for myself or even other people? And in a word, yes. All right. And so when the 5 days are up, I'll talk about what next level looks like for all you overachievers out there. And I'll be making a special offer for those who want to elevate your gifts even more. And then just learn about all the stuff that I learned about from my own journey. Right? And having taught this for many years, many of you actually want to use your gifts. You actually want to use your gifts for something greater. And whether it's just, using your gifts to make better life decisions, or even how to use your gifts to help heal others, which is what I teach in my more advanced programs, I know that many of you are searching for something greater, just like I was early in my awakening journey. I'll tell you all about that later, and how you could qualify for that particular program. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. First things first, this challenge. And I'd love to share with you some other video testimonials of those who've also gone through the challenge. So that way you're not just hearing it from me, you're actually getting proof of what people got for themselves. You learn their backstories and what they got out of, what's happening for them now, right? From having gone through the challenge. And, really you get to learn that you're not the only one going through this kind of awakening. And when you're done watching, go ahead and comment below about maybe one of your weird awakening stories. Did a spirit guide contact you, or do lights turn off for you too? Or maybe you get some of these really prophetic dreams that tell you about the future. What's some totally weird or unexplained thing that happened to you? I'd love to read your stories, as well as, you get to read other people's stories. So anyway, go ahead and watch some of the other stories now, share below, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye for now.
Hi everybody, my name is Gracie Hankin, and I just wanted to make this short little video to send a huge shout out, big thanks and all my gratitude to Joe Gacoscos. I was recently a member of his Awaken Your Psychic Abilities 5-day challenge, and I also had the very distinct honor of getting a half-hour reading from Joe, and it just blew my mind. I'm not one to believe in coincidences, so when I happened to be on Facebook, I was, I came across, this challenge that Joe was putting on, and I thought to myself, well, you know what? No, I'm not crazy, or maybe just slightly. And, I keep seeing repeating numbers all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 555, 1111, 444, whatever the case may be. And ever since I was young, I could sense people's auras or their energy, and, see pictures in my mind or get certain feelings, but I never pursued it. And like I said, since I don't believe in coincidences, I said I'll sign up for this challenge, and it really has been wonderful. I became part of a community of like-minded individuals who felt exactly the way I did, and I didn't know there were so many of us out there. But anyway, Joe was so patient and caring, and he went through the challenge, step by step, explained things, explained what he went through when he was just realizing whatever gifts he had. And there was a wealth of knowledge, and like I said, it just gave me all the validation in the world, and it was just so eye-opening, and I'm just so grateful for it. So to Joe, thank you so very much. You've literally changed my life, and I hope to continue a great friendship or connection with you. And to everybody else, I wish you the best of luck. You're more than in capable hands if you take the challenge or a class or have a reading done by Joe. He's one of the best. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm just about finished with the Unlock Your Sixth Sense Breakthrough Challenge. I started out with mere curiosity. I would see 333, 222, 444. I would get some kind of curiosity about certain energies that I would feel. I would just feel stuff, and I had a feeling that there was something more to what was going on around me, than I could even imagine. So one day an ad for Joe's Unlock the Sixth Sense Breakthrough Challenge came up, and I said, you know what? I had been reading his book already. I was very curious after that. I said, you know what? I have nothing to lose and maybe something to gain. So I decided to try it. And now that I'm almost finished with it, I can tell you it has changed my life. I know how to ground. I know how to release energy. I know how to call my energy back. And these things are really important in order for us to be able to use our gifts. And we all have gifts. Thanks to Joe, I know that now. But anyway, it's great. It's changed my life. I can see my aura. Not only can I see it, but I can see its color. I can actually change its distance. I can see energy. I can see the energy colors as I call it back. And it's amazing. And I'm so happy that I decided to do this challenge. And I would recommend it 1000%. So come do this challenge too, and you'll see how it will change your life.
After completing Joe's 6-6 challenge, I have been very confident in my gifts. During the course, I learned how to ground, which gave me my abilities to rid negative and foreign energies from my aura and from my body, and just makes me feel better all over instantly. I like the tools that he uses with the golden sun and the sticky rose. It rids pains and foreign energies and just refills you with just such good vibes. It's just amazing. I would recommend this course to anyone that wants to enhance their psychic abilities and to, whatever field you might go into. This is a definite tool that you would need. Thanks, Joe.
Hey, what is up, guys? Let's talk about the Unlock Your Sixth Sense Breakthrough Challenge. So if you are a psychic like me and you see spirits, hear spirits, feel spirits, or you are just an empath and tired of people's energy getting into your aura, this class is definitely for you. Joe teaches you about grounding and replenishing your energy, reading your aura and the colors, activating your third eye, psychic protection, and he goes live every night, and you get to ask him questions, and he answers everybody's questions. He gets to everybody, so that's super awesome. He doesn't leave anybody out. You get to go live and do practice readings with Joe also for other people, and he reads along with you, so that was fun. The grounding and replenishing your energy was pretty cool, because if you are an empath, you know that you get other people's energy stuck into your field, and so knowing how to ground it out and then replenish your energy so it stays your own is super awesome to know. And then also the psychic protection. So if you have spirits that are just coming to you all the time and you want them to leave you alone, that's a good one to know. I definitely recommend taking this course for anybody who has psychic abilities and you want to learn how to control them, or you want to learn how to bring them out. I recommend this. So take the course. Bye.